Good morning. Well, it's a bit gloomy, it's a bit dark. However, I actually have the wonderful time of being able to chill out today. So I thought it would be a great opportunity to make a cup of tea, to sit down and chat with you and give you a bit of an update. And also, I wanted to do a little bit of my mixed media course that I'm currently studying, which is an art course. It's online and it's with an amazing artist called Laura Hearn, and she's an Australian artist, and I just fell in love with her mixed media course. So I am nearly at the end of it. It's a 6 weeks course, and I just thought I'm going to have a little paint, a little chat with you, a little chill out, and get you up to date. So grab something warm and cozy, have a sit, and let's get into the video. So I set myself the target back last year that I wanted to be more creative, and this is what I'm talking about. I used to be really artsy when I was a teenager and a child, and then as you grow up, you start to put them aside and you don't find that your creative pursuits are deemed as a good use of time or resources. So I put my art away and I didn't touch it for many, many years. Now that stopped this spring of 2024 because I wanted to reignite my love for being creative and painting and getting a space where I could just sit and chill. So these are some of the examples that I did. I did an online course with Laura Horn. She's an Australian artist and she does amazing online courses. So I'll link her below. It's not sponsored. It's just I really loved her mixed media course. It's a 6 weeks course that you can just do with the classes on her website, and you basically learn lots of different techniques. So you learn about how to do mark making, just using texture and different things around the house if you want. And these are just some of my examples. Some I prefer more than others, and like this one for instance, it's got some like gold copper sheen, like duochrome acrylic paint and some acrylic inks. This one was all about wetting the paper first and then putting on ink and watercolour. This one was just a botanical study, trying to use a select colour palette. This one's one of my favourite ones. This one, again, you can change it in all different directions. And it just helped me fall back in love with the use of colour and texture. I mean, like even this, for instance, you learn what kind of marks you enjoy, and like I love the pen, the white pen over the brown ink, and then you do like detailing with pen, or you work from the background up, which I love. This one was just a botanical study, just to get used to doing watercolours and just seeing where the colour went, and then I just drew a stem afterwards. Again, I'm loving blues at the moment, so this was just another study. And then this was a study on marking out the page into squares and then just seeing what you came up with, really. So like this was like raindrops and a leaf, and like again another sort of texture with mark making. This is one of my favourites. This was one of my sort of experimental pieces, which was more Aboriginal. I wanted to use this as a study for what we're going to do in the camper van. That's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be getting out our next sheet of paper, masking it up, and we're going to have a chat while we do that. So what Laura always says is to get some really good paper for starters. So this is Arches Aquarelle, which is the watercolour paper. It's 300 GSM, so it's really thick. And this is the A3 size. So I have already used quite a few sheets. So I think I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sheets left. So she always says, take a sheet out, put it on your table or whatever. And then you get some artist's masking tape, again from the art shop. It has to be artist's masking tape. And then you mask up your paper so you get a nice edge. Now, I'm not going to stick it down because we're actually going to be doing my work today in the bedroom while we have a little chit chat. Now I'm going to mask this up here like so. And what you do is you mask it down to the table or a board, whatever you like, so that it stays flat, doesn't move, and it also gives you a lovely edge to your piece of work. So we do that first and then we'll get started. Right, there we go. I'm going to grab my cup of tea and we'll start this video. It's a little bit strange to be sat here in front of you like this today, because since I last did a talking to the camera video, we've obviously been to Cyprus and we came back over a month ago now, but I know you're only just seeing all of the videos, and that's because I needed that time to really rest. I needed it to recharge and to figure out where I wanted to go with YouTube and the videos. And so it couldn't have come at a better time that we had just on the spur of the moment decided to book a trip to Cyprus. Mel loves Cyprus, he's been there many times, and so it just felt the most obvious choice. We found an Airbnb and we just booked it on the spot and the flights just one Saturday morning when we were lazing in bed, having a cup of coffee and just deciding on what we wanted to do going forwards. And one of the things was that we wanted to travel more. The reason why we went on a plane was because Mel and I realistically looked at our finances, and I am still recovering from 2020 with my own business. So I don't actually have the income to go off with a long-term van trip, even though that was our heart's desire and we've been working towards that since we've been together. It just isn't the practical reality. So we knew that if we wanted to go away somewhere, it would have to be a quick trip in a plane, which is what we did. So we had an amazing time there and we just fell in love with Cyprus. I got to meet some beautiful people there, and it really made me relax and trust that everything's in hand, and that I can truly just unwind and let myself enjoy my life. And that's been something that I have really struggled with. I've always felt guilty for going away and doing things, which is then a reason why I never did it, because I always thought, oh, you know, there's poor people in the world, there's this, there's that, I shouldn't do this, I'm not deserving of it. And over the past 6 months, since May, I had a huge shift spiritually, and I worked on some big issues with my past lives and with trauma that I had when I was a child. And it directly linked into this sense of self-worth and denying myself happiness, because I would always come up with a reason why somebody else was more deserving than me. Little did I realize that by doing that, I was actually making myself stand in my own way. You know, I'd have these dreams, I'd have these aspirations, but I would always talk myself down from them, or say, you know, when you're better at this, when you're that, when you're thinner, when you're, you know, got your life together, then you can deserve these things. And that is such a tragic and trauma-led way of thinking. So I've been working a lot on rewriting those patterns and breaking those karmic realities that I had told myself and that I'd been conditioned through many factors. as you well know, there were those two major videos. Just gonna have a cup of tea. There was those two major videos that I made before we went to Cyprus. I wish I could have made that up. Sadly, I couldn't. It was the reality. And for those of you that don't know, a situation happened at the barn. I'm not going to go into it in too much detail because, quite frankly, it's just not worth going over and over with. By the way, I'm just wetting my watercolour paper and then we're going to start and have a little play. So what happened was my van got hit. Everyone accused me of doing it, and as you'll see in the previous video, I can link it up here if you're interested. There were people at the barn that decided that it was me. There's so much evidence that proves that it wasn't me. It physically is impossible that it was me. But anyway, situations arose that it was getting more and more uncomfortable to be there. I clearly wasn't going to be heard or listened to and just blamed and asked to apologise to the group for accusing people. Bearing in mind, I hadn't accused anyone. I had simply put in the group chat, someone's hit my van, could you come forward? You know, I just wanted to know what had happened. There was no way I was going to try and get, you know, accusing people or go after anybody, but they made it very clear in the way that they pulled rank, even if that is such a thing, that it was them and me, or Mel and me versus them, which I don't even understand why that's a thing. Why do people divide and conquer? I just don't understand. As far as I knew, we were setting up this space, this barn, this workshop, as a place for people to come in, work on their vans and to leave, not to make it as a community. But anyway, that's another issue altogether. Basically left me feeling very uncomfortable. I clearly couldn't take the word of anybody there. If they thought that I'd done it and I'd lied about it and I started accusing people, then I thought, no, I'm not going to spend my time with these people. I'll just have a break from it. So I did. I had a break. I came back to the house here and just focused on my own stuff. Things escalated at the barn, which I'm sure you'll see a part of in Mel's videos previously. Again, go check them out if you're interested, but it's fair to say that he received quite a lot of hostility as well, because obviously I'd stirred up some shit, and because nobody came forward and actually spoke to me, nobody at all asked how I was, wanted to talk about it, nothing. It was just accusations and just hostility. Things progressed at the barn with Mel feeling more and more unwelcome there, and as soon as my van got hit and it was handled the way it was handled, Mel and I already knew that we didn't want to be there anymore, because as far as we were concerned, the barn was coming down because we'd been told that it was, and we weren't needed anymore. That's the simple fact of it. We weren't actually needed anymore because, you know, our services were null and void. So we knew that there would be a time scale on it, because like everybody, people only want to hang around you or be your friend if they can get stuff from you. So that seemed to be the case. The situation changed, basically. So Mel started leaving, but they made it impossible for him to leave quickly and carefully, because they just got in his way all the time. They blocked him in, they blocked him out. They came round and were abusive to him. Mel got attacked. And so we are just so glad to be out of there now. And we have that holiday booked, which we were just so grateful for, because it gave us a deadline to be out by. We needed that to rest and recharge and to really evaluate what we'd spent the last 2 years doing. We'd put our time and effort into that project, and to be backstabbed like that was just quite hurtful, to be honest. And I'm sure everyone will say in the comments that there's two sides to every story, and yes, there is, and you'll hear lots of different things flying around. But if you want to know the truth, you had to have been there, because if people aren't aware of themselves, they will spin it however they want it. So you can read between the lines with that. We're not going to be discussing it anymore. It has really led me to evaluate everything that I do in my life. Spending 2 years working on converting either my van or the Vario or Mary has been an incredible journey. It really has, and we have made some beautiful friendships along the way. But we've also learned that there are many people out there that just want to use you. And so going away really gave us a chance to step out of our normal day-to-day, focus on what it is we want to go and do moving forwards. So I have come to the realization that my goals in life and the way that I want to take my life and the places that I want to go and the real joy that I feel in my life is not being in the van. Now I know that might come across as a bit of a shock to some of you, because I do love being in the van and traveling and talking all about van life. But these past 2 years of just being totally saturated in that world, and especially on this channel, it's all been about the van. I no longer want to do that. I personally have got a lot of other gifts in my life. I've got a lot of other passions. And for some of you that may just be new signing up to the channel, welcome. But I'm also a fully qualified healer and therapist. I don't talk about that much on this channel, and that's where it's going to change. In January this year of 2024, I started making very different content, and then I got really down and frustrated and just disheartened with the fact that the content that I started bringing out nobody seemed to want, and my channel plummeted. I didn't pursue it. I then went back to making van life content because this is what the channel started out as. And YouTube is a funny thing in that it does not like it if you change course or change topic, because it doesn't know where to put your videos. So it comes with a great risk that you suddenly change what you're doing. But I also knew that I have so many facets to my life, and so does everybody. I couldn't keep not making videos because I wanted to, because of the fear of it just being rejected by YouTube, by my viewers. Oh, it sounds like someone's here. Hello. All right, you can come in. I'm just doing a chat video, but it's all right. You can come in. This is actually coming out really nicely. I like how the paintbrush is giving me all these different patterns. I made a load of content and then it got rejected. I felt really down about it, so I went back to doing van life videos. Got thrown into it anyway because we're still working on the Vario. However, as you all know, I am not so much involved with that because Mel's very good at doing it himself. He doesn't often want me around because it makes it too complicated. He just would rather just do it himself. So it's not that I can't do it. He actually prefers just to do his own thing. But since everything that happened at the barn and the fact that I've spent so much of my time doing van related stuff, although it's a great area to be in and I love the people and I love the lifestyle, my life of where I am right now and the goals that I want to achieve and the actual practicalities of day-to-day running, I was making van life content over here, but the majority of my life when I wasn't on camera was somewhere else, and it was here in my treatment room, my parents' place, working with clients, helping with their healing and discovering more and more about myself and what I wanted to do. In the last 6 months, but definitely in the last 2 months, is that I must do what's right for me. And despite the channel doing well with van life content and me enjoying it, it's not where my heart is. And each and every time that something happens or I get a bit of a shake up, I mean, the whole incident at the barn was a huge reality to me that they aren't my people. They're not in alignment with how I want to live. You still within a area have to pick your people and choose your people. It's not just a given that you will get on with anyone, and I know that's the case in many areas of life. Being a YouTuber, being an influencer, you brush shoulders with a lot of different people, and you have to chat to people. You have to do certain things. It's expected of you. But I don't want to be doing it anymore. That's one of the things I will be cutting in 2025 is I've decided I'm not going to be doing any van events or meetups or anything. I've given 2 years of my life to this channel, to building the camper vans, to being in that whole world, and it's not where my heart is calling me. It's not where my gifts are calling me. I want to spend my time coming back full circle to being a therapist, being a healer, and truly embracing that gift. And that's what I do. I help unlock people's trauma. I help heal their bodies physically. You know, I have clients coming in and out of here on a weekly, daily basis where they come in with an issue and a pain, and it is sorted within either that session or a few sessions. I cannot say that I have the same effect on people when I do van content. I really want to inspire people and change their lives. There's no right or wrong, but I feel called to go in this new direction. And I said this before in a previous video, in that I felt really like pulled between the different parts of me and, you know, making these types of videos and these types of videos and how to bring it together. I'm no longer going to analyze it. I'm no longer going to worry about the outcome. I just need to do it for me, and I need to be creative in the way that I want to be creative. If you want to hang around, that would be wonderful, but I do get that it will be very different around here, and it will be even more on the spiritual side and the healing side, and whatever I fancy make. Instead of it being just van content, it's going to be a vlog about me and what I get up to, my gifts. And even like today, like I'm literally just painting this now while I'm chatting to you, and it's fun. You know, I don't want to pigeonhole myself into thinking, oh, well, I can't make that kind of video because people aren't going to watch it, or, you know, feel scared about talking about my spiritual healing and the way that I work with clients. People might not receive it very well. It's very out there, and for people in my world of holistic healing, I'm still quite unique in what I do. I mean, I've been on my own healing journey for quite some time now, so to me it just feels normal and natural. And how couldn't people, you know, do this? Why aren't people doing this? But it still staggers me how so many people are so locked up and afraid of doing the inner work. And I'm not one of those people. Once I get hold of something and I know that it feels amazing and that I see huge changes and shifts in my life and others, I can't not do it. I in myself feel, or have felt, quite divided in that I have to keep my van life over here, my personal life with Mel and Monty and my own dreams here, and then my business and my holistic healing and like my Reiki soul work over here, and I want to bring it all together. I'm now coming into more alignment with my goals and my dreams, bring you along for the ride. We've got so many future plans of what Mel and I want to do. I mean, we're talking about emigrating in the next 5 years, so we might be moving countries altogether, maybe even selling the vans, depending on what the financial situation is of what we can achieve. But until that point, we are going to be traveling, yes. Will it be in the vans? Maybe, but they're just going to be short trips. They're not going to be like long 3-month trips, because like I said earlier, we don't have the finances. I don't have the finances. My income solely comes from my treatments. I think the highest amount of money I've made is £190, and that was sometime last year. September I made £130, and this month I've made £9 so far. It's not an income that I can rely on, which means that I have to stay put in order to support myself. So in terms of us getting in the Vario and going on month-long trips, it can't happen. Not right now, at least. whether or not we ever do want to do that, because again, our goals and our dreams have changed. Mel and I both want to be in a hot country, and we want to be able to do the things that we do. And even when I'm in another country, I still want to be a therapist first and foremost. So that requires an address, a fixed place to be, because I did even look into being a mobile therapist. I used to be a mobile therapist. That's what I did when I first started 10 years ago. It comes with its own challenges and problems, namely being people mess you around because they think that you're traveling. It's not as important as being in a professional business. You have the trouble of only having one-off customers or clients because you're passing through and you've got no establishment to build up a reputation or professional business. I've discovered and found out that my joy and my fulfillment comes from working regularly with the same person, finding out their traumas, building that relationship session by session and working on undoing and breaking those ties, breaking those traumas through soul work, through conversations, through working with the body and finding those points in the body that hold pain, because our bodies are amazing beings, but they do. Our illnesses, our outcomes, and the way we live our lives and the way we think and everything, it's all in our bodies. And if we don't look at those things and we heal those things, we're forever going to be trapped and traumatized and be the negative little human beings that we are. So the end goal of healing is to become a better human being and to become a good custodian of the earth and to fulfill your soul path. Why are we all here on the earth? And if you want to know more about soul contract, I highly recommend you Google it and check it out because it's fascinating. And this is the stuff that I've been leaning in towards more and learning and discovering for myself, for my own trauma and healing, that if you want to be set free from this kind of stuff, you have to do it yourself. You cannot just expect things to change just by thinking them. You actually have to do the hard work of looking at the triggers, looking at the pain, healing the pain, and going back into the past and breaking those soul ties and those traumas. And that's the kind of work that I want to do. I want to help heal and change people's lives, and those gifts are what have been given to me and I have cultivated over time through my own healing. And I used to think it was a real curse because of all the things that happened to me when I was young, through my teenage years. Being born drowning was a huge thing. I always felt, well, this is something I've recently realised, is that I never believed through that trauma of being born drowning. My subconscious always felt and told myself that I wasn't worthy of living. Take that for a big trauma response being in my subconscious and in my very cells. From the moment of birth, I felt like I shouldn't be here and that I was living on borrowed time. So you can see where that trauma comes from, and the fact that I didn't feel worthy of anything in my life was because I just didn't think that I should be here, full stop. And you can see I'm getting upset because it's a real true to my heart and pure of my heart to tell you this. I have healed it, and it's been miraculous what I've done, and I've only just healed that in May of 2024, and I can't believe how much amazing things has happened since I broke that and healed that trauma. I have had an increase in my finances, not much, but a little bit. I've had the ability to face my fear of going diving, because of being born drowning. You can imagine I had a huge fear about that. So for me to go diving in Cyprus in September, which is only a month ago, is incredible. I cannot tell you how much working on that trauma has released me from so much fear and stopping myself from doing things. You know, on the one hand, one of my goal dreams was to be able to dive, to be with the fish, and to be in the ocean. However, because of my autoimmune that happened when I was 9 years old, I was basically rendered in and out of hospital, and I suffered a lot through my young child years and up into my teenage years. Well, I'm still working on it now, but it's better than it was. So I lost a lot of my education, as you can imagine. I was in bed, literally brain fog, couldn't function. My body was physically shutting down, dangerously close to going into a coma. Living with that every day, day in, day out. You're 9 years old and all your friends are going out and doing sleepovers and having fun, playing. I was just ill all the time. And so that really then leads you on the path of depression. So I suffered with depression for many years going through my teenage years, because as you can imagine, all your hormones are going crazy. My metabolism wasn't working. And so I couldn't live the way I wanted to live. I basically had to live in the house, be very mindful of what I did because my energy was, shot, because you get adrenal fatigue as well, which I still am working with. You shut your world down and you don't believe that you could do anything ever again. And then the fact that the depression came on and the suicide happened, or attempted suicide, the thought of me one day being in an amazing relationship, being at peace with my world around me, feeling healthy, feeling contentment, and feeling good about my body, the way that I looked, the way that I was living my life. I had all these aspirations and this vision of who I wanted to be as a person. And then there was the reality of what I was living day to day. And they couldn't have been further from each other. However, here I am living the life that I wanted to live since I was 9 years old. You also learn along the way what is truly important to you. And although I'm not a marine biologist, I'm okay with that, because actually I'm still having an amazing ability to help other people, which I wouldn't have done if I was a marine biologist. Yes, I'd help the planet and, discover all these amazing plants and fish. I know that actually this is what my soul has been always calling me to do, and that my journey of my ill health and my struggles for living have set me up and set me on this course to help others. I've lived it. I know when people tell me things, I know it because I can feel it in my own body. I feel it in their energy. That gives me the ability to come alongside someone in their trauma, because I've walked that trauma myself. That's what I'm going to be doing here on the channel. I am really making a conscious choice to really listen to myself and to honour myself. Shitstorm that happened at the barn, I don't regret it at all, because I was standing by my own boundaries and beliefs and calling people accountable for their actions. That's why you get such a backlash, because people don't like it. But it's a huge lesson for me. Although it ended in a different way than I was expecting, it couldn't have been more of a blessing than what it was, because it really highlighted people's hearts. Mel stood by me. He was such a constant throughout that. And it was just incredible, the lies and backstabbing that went on. And you're just standing in the middle of this, having highlighted something, and the turbulence that goes around it, really eye-opening. And it's just confirming to me, why am I here? Why am I wasting my time with these people when I could be making good in the world, choosing who's in my life and who isn't, rather than being obligated to deal with these people that just waste your time and that don't value you and don't respect anything about you. A lot has happened inside here, and just between Mel and I, we've made a lot of new decisions about what we want to do going forwards. So in terms of videos coming forwards, I want to be much more creative, doing things like this, sharing my heart with you, sharing my skills as a therapist with you. You know, I would love to give you more like massage tips and on how to do your own soul work, be a bit more raw and real with the other half of my life with you. Though van life has been an inroad to get to talk to you, I don't think it's a waste of time at all. And I'm hoping that because we've built this, you've signed up and subscribed to me for various reasons. And actually, I'd really love your feedback on this video. Why is it that you subscribed? I would love it if YouTube did this on each video or at any point when you subscribe or unsubscribe. Why did you subscribe? What is it about the video or me that you liked, that you enjoyed? And the same goes for when you unsubscribe. You know, and Monster's coming in as well now. Do you want to say hello to Monster? Say hi, Monster. Hello. Isn't he the cutest? Honestly, he's such a joy to have. I love him to bits. Yeah. So anyway, as I was saying, right, well, since you saw the last clip, I actually didn't realise that I was talking to you and the camera died, so apologies for that, but we are still always learning about being a better YouTuber. On a better note though, I just wanted to update you with the piece of artworks that I finished. So we did some mark making, we did some gold sections, and we just had a play. I really enjoyed just sitting down, having a chat with you and getting you up to speed. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you liked this video and you want to see more from me, please go ahead and check this one out next. And until next time, breathe in life every day, and I will see you very soon.